I've had some colour shift on the model. All right, here we have Femme Fatale by Smoky Fox. Make sure the sound's all good. Let's give this a watch.
Say my name like it's a curse, like I wasn't there when it got worse. You needed a monster, so I became one first. Low lights, black sky, I breathe in blame. Every scar talk back, every voice my name. You froze up, I moved, now I'm what you accuse. Truth get buried deep when it's you choose. I cross lines you wouldn't face, now I wear that in my name. You stay clean, I got stained, now I'm dancing in the flames. Tell me what would you have done when the choice was all or none? If I bleed so you survive, why am I wrong for keeping you alive? Paint me the villain in your story, drag my name through something gory. I bled for a world you adore, now I'm the one you ignore. I took the fall, I took the blame, lit myself up in your name. If love looks like this pain, don't say I'm the one insane. Don't say I'm the one insane. I made the call.
I'm just going to make a comment here now. I know people want to do one-ers when it comes to these fight scenes, but unless you're using like the really high-end AIs, it's really not. Yeah, duplication bonus for racing. I noticed that as well. You're not going to get any really good results trying to do like the one shot, as in like one scene through fights very well. My recommendation is if you're going to do a fight scene, put the same prompt in and generate it several times, and then cut and chop the scene with the best parts of each fight. That's what I learned to do. Now it's a bit more obvious with this one because I chopped and did two separate fights, but even then, these are actually like 3 or 4 different fights, 3 or 4 different generations of each fight merged together. And there are dozens and dozens of cuts in the fights. I mean, even there are still blurs, but they're fast blurs. They're not, I'm hanging on somebody and then pulling a staff through myself in slow motion. Anything like that, I either cut out or I sped up enough that you don't notice it. I'm actually going to bring up a part so you can actually easily see one of those distortions. Boom. Boom, just pulled the staff through myself. But when it's at higher speed, you can barely notice it. Here, got disappearing weapons, arms going behind bodies. hovering in the air. Sword hit her, but didn't hit her. If you did it as like 3 or 4 generations and then cut and splice them together, you get a better overall fight choreography look. It's not going to look perfect, but it will look a little bit cleaner, and you can also do it at slower motion to reduce the blur, and so you don't have to worry about trying to get the all. So Grok's got a 30-second limit. If you do it at slow motion, you can get yourself a roughly 15-second fight clip when you speed it up again, and it won't be quite so distorted. Anyway, sword appears, held back to front, but I think it's meant to be in the sheath. Switched hands. Very good concept, some very good art, but some of the action scenes are a little tagged on. Yes. That's what I mean. But you don't see it when it's fast. See, a long single run where it's just like that isn't too bad, but at the same time, to be fair, with the sketchy style, it's not too bad. But you still got distortion. If they'd done this and done it at half speed, it would look a little bit cleaner and sharper. But instead of doing that, they added this bit in, whereas instead they could have clipped the end frame of the door and then said, now add guards heading towards it. Instead of having this distorted first moment of guards being just statues. So all of a sudden, yeah, this is quite clean. Then here we go. And what's more is, if you're good enough at the editing, you could actually even get the fight beats to match the pulsing of the song.
Now you don't know where I end or begin. I never wanted to be your fear.
And I had that same problem in this fight as well. You notice how awkward that is. No matter how I tried describing it as like stabbing into the head, you end up with like a slight brief, and then it stayed standing and fighting for a few seconds while he dodged and then fell over. This was slightly better, where he stabbed it in, it's gone through his head. Yeah. You could have do that, and then you cut, resume.
Wanted to be your fear. I just wanted you to
do like an impact special effect in the cut as well at that moment of the hit to hide any distortions in the positioning of the models.
Just someone who carried the flame. I'll be the villain. That's the cause. And carry every line I cross. We don't forget who paid the flag. Call me the villain, I won't fight it. But I built your world from the dark inside it.
But in terms of general editing, as in like scene transitions on beats, very solid. It's just those fight scenes could be tightened up, especially early on.
Like I wasn't
Nice slow title card, very nice scene setting.
so I became one first.
Slow fade in on a slow bit of music.
Low lights, black sky, I breathe in blame. Every scar talk
Speeding up.
back, every voice my name. You froze up, I moved, now I'm what you accuse. Truth get
Scene follows that entire pattern.
I crossed lines you wouldn't face. Now I wear that in my name. You stay clean.
The cut and name, there it should have been a sharp cut, to be honest, because it was a hard phrase. Here we've got Pufferfish Pat,
Now I'm dancing.
rather a doll in his shape.
Tell me what would you have done when the choice was all or none? If I bleed so you survive, why am I wrong for keeping you alive? Paint me the villain in your story. Drag my name through
Yes,
story. I bled for
I found if somebody's wearing a hood,
I'm the one you ignore.
to be fair here, it's not too much of an issue. But my suggestion is if they have long hair and they've got a hood like this, create a version of the model where the hair is not longer than the hood, just so that when you're using them this way, the hair doesn't go through so much. I don't have a hood on my character, so I don't have to worry about that so much with the length of his hair. But even then, for most of my fight scenes, it's in his slightly younger time when he's got slightly shorter hair than what he currently has.
For keeping you alive. Paint me the villain in your story. Drag my name through something gory. I bled
Get a weird thing where the knights start falling over as they leave the scene.
for you ignore.
So this is fantastically designed, although the light feels a little bit off in terms of the lighting. Also, when you're prompting, you can prompt the scene to match the style of the figures, because the art of the room is more realistic than the art of the characters, if you know what I mean.
I took the fall, I took the blame. Let my
This is too long to go through again, but
if love looks like this pain.
see that edit was, sorry, that cut rather,
Took the blame.
on Blame would have been good.
Let myself up in your name.
Name would have been good.
Love looks like
Instead, it's in the middle of a phrase. Either needs to be either on the end of a phrase or the end of a beat, and that was neither.
this pain. Don't say I'm the one insane.
Here we've got a fast pace, and it's not ramping up in visual, it's just a steady. See, going to this scene as soon as it starts ramping up would have been the best way of doing that.
Don't say I'm the one insane.
And again, having multiple versions of that scene, so you can start do different angles of the attack, could cover up some of the jank. Yeah, and here we get to the fight scenes I was talking about. Yeah, so basically they just need to work on getting their pacing and trying not to do fights as one long scene. it almost never works. You do get the occasional one where a fight scene does work, especially when you've got semi-realistic designs. If you're doing a full-on Sakuga fight where like they're blurring at high speeds, then you can do a long extended fight because the distortions help, like with the Pippa versus Hassan fight scene in the latest Skybrows video. But if you've got solid character models that are meant to be fighting in a semi-realistic way, you can't do oneers. You just can't. You have to cut and edit them, otherwise it just doesn't work. And then she gets 7 bodies out of 4, so 7 undead out of 4 corpses. But yeah, that's just the way it works with trying to describe things for the AI. Hey Noel, we reacted to your video earlier. Thank you for the cameo. Bit disturbed by the way that last scene of me waving is. That smile's a bit weird, but you should see some of the smiles the AI gives me when I put in some prompts. Yeah, efficiency bonus. But yeah, go give Smoky Fox love. They do some good music. They just need to tighten up on the video a little bit, not try and do the fight scenes in one long run.